Hi everyone, I'm Ryan with Marine Parts Source, and in this video we're going to be talking about anchor roads, the different styles that are available, and how to select the correct one for your application. And with me is Harcourt Schutz. He's the Director of Sales at Lippert Marine, and Lippert is the parent company of Lewmar, which makes some of the best anchors and windlasses in the marine industry. Harcourt, appreciate you being with me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get into this. There are a lot of questions that people have when it comes to selecting the correct roads for their application. I'm sure you've seen a lot of confusion about this over the years. Let's just get started with talking about what the different styles are that are available.
Yeah, the two basic styles are going to be an all-chain anchor road, which is traditionally what we see on the larger boats or people who are long-range cruisers, that kind of thing. The other style is going to be a rope chain combination. That'll be a section of chain spliced directly to a longer section of rope, generally for weight considerations.
Okay, and there are two different styles of the chain rope combos, right?
That's correct. So we basically there's going to be there's 3-strand road, which is going to be twisted nylon spliced directly to the chain, and then we also offer an 8-plate line, which is an 8-strand, basically a braided line, which is still spliced directly to the chain, but utilizes the softer 8-plate line.
Okay.
The 8-plate really comes to its own where it when you've got a smaller anchor locker or you're trying to get a very long anchor road into a confined space. The 8-plate's very soft; it'll lay down really well in that down the anchor locker.
Okay, and is that the biggest difference between these two? Is just the space consideration?
We also see a little better elasticity out of the 8-plate than we out of the 3-strand, so a little better shock absorption when the anchor's out.
Okay, and it probably is something that isn't going to have to be replaced as often then as the 3-strand. Is that right?
Yeah, 3-strand after a couple of years will tend to hold a bit of a memory and get a bit wiry and kind of a little unmanageable in the anchor locker.
Okay, great. So once you kind of know what style you need, the other consideration, of course, is the length. And this is where things can be a little bit more complex. There's a lot of opinions and there's a lot of factors that can play into what the length is that you need, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a general rule of thumb is the overall scope, looking at a 7-to-1 ratio. And the scope meaning the length of rope out for how deep the water is. For every foot down, 7 feet of rope and chain should go out. This allows for a really shallow angle as far as the relationship between the boat and the anchor. The steeper that angle is, the more inclined the anchor is to get pulled out of the seabed.
So it's difficult for us to just provide a standard rule of thumb to people in this video as far as what their preferred length should be, but Lewmar has some basic standards that you can start with, right?
Yeah, so obviously, kind of a good starting point is going to be, you always hear a foot of chain for a foot of boat. A lot of times with smaller boats, we can cut that kind of down a little bit to, if I've got a mid 20-foot boat, 15 feet of chain will kind of be a good starting point for the anchor road.
Okay.
And then obviously, what size chain I need with my gypsy or with my windlass is another question we get. So each of our gypsies actually has a stamp in it which tells you what the gypsy size is. So it allows you to match the corresponding rope and chain with what you have for the windlass. And
you've got specific recommendations of what style of rope and chain to use for each of your windlasses, right? And so that's stamped there. We also have it listed on the Marine Parts Source website with the individual windlasses when you look them up. All right, well, are there any other components or tools that are handy to have on hand when you're putting your rope and chain into use?
One kind of cool accessory we have is a chain counter, which really helps the consumer know how much rope and chain they have out. There's a simple magnet in the gypsy which counts the revolutions, so it tells you, hey, I've got 20 feet of chain out or road out. And I know I'm going to be in X amount of water. You can kind of work numbers back from there.
Okay, great. And so you got a couple of those here, and then we also have this swivel, right?
So this actually is a great tool to help minimize twist with the rope and chain. So it's a simple swivel which goes between the anchor and the road, and it's free spinning. Mm-hmm. So it keeps the chain from getting twisted up as the anchor comes off the seabed.
All right, so as we mentioned, this can be a topic that's got a lot of different variation and things that can factor into the correct decision when it comes to the proper length of anchor road. So are there any other resources that a person can refer to get them closer to the right answer?
Yeah, there's a lot of great articles and tools online, but one thing we see is a book called Chapman's Guide to Piloting. It's a real great resource for just general seamanship and boating practices.
Okay, terrific. Well, as always, if you have questions, you can contact our ABYC certified experts at the number below, or you can leave them in the comments as well. We appreciate you watching. Make sure and like and subscribe to our channel. As always, you can find us online at marinepartsource.com.